Hey guys, this is going to be a video about my hamster Poggin, but I hope it will also help you if your hamster ends up in a similar situation as he did. I need to prepare you that he is the craziest looking hamster you probably will ever see. Part of it has to do with the condition we're going to talk about today. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's called glaucoma. Glaucoma? Whatever. So this is Poggin. Tiny, teeny, tiny little fluff ball. So Poggin is 1.5 years old, which unfortunately is old for a pet store hamster and a hybrid that, you know, just both those things are strikes against him. He keeps going though, and despite how he looks, he is the happiest little hamster. Every day he's just full of excitement and curiosity and just seems to really be enjoying his life. So, you know, I keep an eye out for him. You know, I don't want him to suffer, but he's not suffering, even though he looks like he should be. I think he may have scratched himself like on his, like behind his eye, sort of on his cheek area, because his nails are so long and sharp. And now he's scratching at it because it's scabbed and it's, you know, itchy. So I am treating it, but it looks kind of terrible because he's got a patch of fur missing. I don't know if you can tell, but his eye looks really weird. And weirdly enough, that's not the eye that had glaucoma. It was the one that he's keeping closed shut. I'm just gonna go through the stages of what happened to his eye so that if it's happening to your hamster, you'll know what it is. First and foremost though, I have to say, if you notice anything serious with your hamster or any animal, take them to a small animal vet. I'm just a YouTuber, I am not an expert. He's in my shirt right now. So it was his left eye, and it came completely out of the blue. Like, he looked fine, he looked normal, he was acting normal. He's always had huge eyes, and they get even bigger when he's excited. So I think he has eyes that are bigger than normal for a dwarf, to be honest. So he's always looked kind of nuts. My brother was the one who noticed it. It was at night. I think we were Skyping with some friends, and all of a sudden he looks over at Poggin, who came out for his nightly runaround, and goes, "Whoa, is something wrong with his eye?" And it was enormous. It was like the whole eye was popping out of the socket. Yes, I know this video is not for the faint of heart. He was still running around and eating like it was totally normal. We were the ones freaking out. Did a whole bunch of research. It was really hard to find, but eventually I found this woman who had had 2 hamsters that developed glaucoma. Basically what happens first is the eye gets huge, it swells out, kind of pops out of the socket. They can amazingly still blink and close the eye completely or cover it. But it can get to a point where they can't do that and the eye will like dry out and stuff. That's when you have to have like round-the-clock care to drip saline or some kind of oil into their eye to keep moistening it. Fortunately, we never got to that stage with him. The thing with this glaucoma in hamsters is that there's not a good timeline of how long the process is. So for her hamsters, they took months. For him, it was a month, maybe 2. I kept looking for signs of pain from him because if there were, that might require more drastic measures. Unfortunately, what can happen is their eye starts bleeding. It's really nasty. So his was like in the middle. It started bleeding a little bit. Never got too crazy, but it was enough that, you know, I was keeping a constant, I was keeping an eye on it. So the thing with this is that there's nothing you can do, technically. You can't stop the process, you can't, it's really dangerous to like remove the eye on such a small animal. So basically what you can do is like help it through its process, and the thing that you want to try and prevent is an infection. Especially when it was bleeding, I was keeping a really close eye on it, making sure it was clean, making sure you could still close it and blink stuff out of it. It didn't bleed for too long. It seemed like it was huge for a long time. He looked crazy, this one normal eye and this huge eye. It started to look opaque, like it was blind. It eventually got to the point where it shrunk down and his eye was closed. Then he had a normal eye and a closed eye. Kind of looked a little bit like a pirate. But that meant that the process was over. His eye had gone through what it needed to go through. It was now permanently blind. It was kind of, it had kind of collapsed. There was no infection. He was in no pain, which is just crazy to me. Okay, he's like, it feels like a butterfly flying around in my shirt. You were so small and fluffy. Oh my goodness. That's this eye, and it turned into that, if you can see. Just kind of close it. It can open a little bit, like right now he's opening it a little bit, and I can see the milky white inside. One thing I should mention is that hamsters have very, very poor eyesight in general, even when they're young and healthy. They just don't rely on their eyesight for pretty much anything. So this guy's totally blind now, but he moves around his cage with all these obstacles with absolute ease. So what happened with this one is it's pretty much, you know, that's kind of like his normal eye size, and it looks enormous, but that's kind of always been his average eye size. And then what happened was it got kind of gunky, and then it developed this massive cataract in it. So I just wanted you to know that this is a thing, and it's something to be concerned about, but I don't want you to completely lose your mind when you start seeing your hamster with a huge eye. It's not guaranteed that it's gonna happen to your hamster, you know, it's one of those fluky things. It's probably genetics. Because I can't guarantee that what happened to him will happen to your hamster. Like, I can't guarantee that your hamster will not get an infection, or that it won't lose the eye completely, or I don't know, there's so many things, right, that could go wrong. So just to play it safe, I would take your buddy to a vet. So yeah, I'm gonna give you some close-ups, and thank you very much for watching. Be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in my next video.
Oh, I know. I know. You look so nuts.
So, so you can see that patch of fur missing behind his eye here. That's where he scratched himself. And then he's got this big eye with the nice milky, oh.
Come on, buddy. Show them your eyeball. It's kind of nasty.
So yeah, that whiteness is the cataract, and then obviously his other eye is mostly closed. And that's the one that swelled up and collapsed. He's a little trooper. And like I said, he's as happy as can be, which is kind of extraordinary. But, yep.
That's Poggin. I'll put you back now, buddy.